Fighting with the swords, gone. Playing with the brain, on. Let's play Giraffe Chess Hattrick League Season 3.
International Giraffe Chess Federation presents Hattrick League Season 3 between 10 Proddatur teams. Hello everyone, welcome to India's new 68 squad Giraffe Chess Academy Proddatur, and welcome to the live telecast of no draws, no resigns, only win or lose in just 70 moves Giraffe Chess Hattrick League 2024 Season 3. Let us watch Hattrick League 31st match between Proddatur Panthers versus Proddatur Marshals team. Each team consists of 3 players. Whoever team all-outs opponent all 3 players is the match winners. Let us see the toss at the center of the court.
Head is the call. Head. Toss won by the Proddatur Panthers. So what will select it? Proddatur Panthers, they won the toss and elected to play on white
And
side.
in toss, Proddatur Panthers team, they won the toss and opted to play on white side. And here is the both teams lineup. For Proddatur Marshals team, Darnish is the opener and Sai Charan is the second player and Surya comes to play as third player. And for Proddatur Panthers team, Naga Vignesh is the opener and Sujan comes to play as second player and Akhilesh is the third player. Let us watch first game of the match between Proddatur Panthers team opening player Naga Vignesh versus Proddatur Marshals team opening player Darnish Reddy. Let us see among these 2 players who will win this game and who will do hat-trick and who will be the hat-trick hero of today's great match. Let us watch. Let us move on to the court. Little Scholar awardee Proddatur Panthers team opening player Naga Vignesh is ready to play on right side. Let us see on other side of the court. One-time hat-trick hero, Best Scholar awardee Proddatur Marshals team opening player Darnish Reddy is ready to play on black side. Now we can see both players are ready to start game 1 of the match. Black side player Darnish is ready to hit the clock. Yes, he hit the clock. Game 1 started.
Pawn to e4, pawn to d6, knight to f3, knight to f6, pawn to d3, knight to c6, giraffe to e3, knight to d7, knight to c3, knight to c5, knight to d5, pawn to e6, knight to b4, knight captured knight at b4, giraffe captured knight at b4, pawn to a3, pawn to d5, pawn capture pawn to d5, pawn capture pawn to d5, queen to e2 and check to black king, giraffe to e6, knight to g5, Bishop captured giraffe to b4 and check to white king. Pawn capture bishop at a4. Knight capture pawn at b4. Rook to b1. Pawn to h6. Queen to e5. Rook to g8. Knight capture giraffe at e6. Bishop capture knight at e6. Queen to d4. Knight capture pawn at c2 and check to white king. King to d1. Knight capture queen at d4. Giraffe to f3. Knight capture giraffe at f3. Pawn capture knight at f3. Pawn to g5. Bishop to e2. Pawn to g4. Pawn capture pawn to g4. Queen to c8. Rook to g1. Pawn to h5. Bishop to g5. Rook capture bishop at g5. Pawn to f3. Pawn capture pawn at g4. Pawn capture pawn at g4. Bishop capture bishop at g4. Bishop capture bishop at g4. Rook capture rook at g4. Rook capture rook at g4. Queen capture rook at g4 and check to white king. King to c2. Queen to a4 and check to white king. King to c3. Rook to b8. Rook to e1 and check to black king. King to f8. Pawn to d4. Queen to a5 and check to white king. King to d3.
Now, let us watch second game of the match between Proddatur Panthers team second player Sujan Kumar Reddy versus Proddatur Marshals team opening player Dharnesh Reddy. Let us see among these two players who will win this game and who will do Hattrick and who will be the Hattrick hero of today's great match. Among these two players, Dharnesh Reddy already won the first game and now playing for winning second game. Let us watch what will happen. Let us move on to the court. Best Scholar awardee Proddatur Panthers team second player Sujan Kumar Reddy is ready to play on black side. Let us see on other side of the court. One-time Hattrick hero, Best Scholar awardee Proddatur Marshals team opening player Dharnesh Reddy is ready to play on white side. Now we can see both players are ready to start game 2 of the match. Black side player Sujan is ready to hit the clock. Yes, he hit the clock. Game 2 started.
Pawn to d4, pawn to e6, pawn to e3, pawn to f5, pawn to f4, giraffe to c6, giraffe to d3, giraffe to f7, pawn to h3, pawn to e5, pawn capture pawn at e5, pawn to d6, knight to f3, knight to c6, giraffe capture knight at c6, pawn capture giraffe at c6, pawn to g3, pawn capture pawn at e5, knight capture pawn at e5, giraffe to e4, queen capture queen at d8 and check to black king, king capture queen at d8, bishop to e2, knight to h6, knight capture pawn at c6 and check to black king, king to d7, knight to e5 and check to black king, king to e7, knight to c6 and check to black king, king to e8, knight to e5, pawn to c5, knight to d3, giraffe to f6, pawn to g4, giraffe to c7, pawn to c3, pawn to c4, knight to b4, giraffe capture knight at b4, pawn capture giraffe at b4, pawn capture pawn at g4, pawn capture pawn at g4, knight capture pawn at g4, bishop capture knight at g4, bishop capture bishop at g4, knight to c3, giraffe to f7, knight to d5, rook to d8, knight to c7 and check to black king, king to e7, knight to b5, pawn to g6, pawn to e4, giraffe to c6, pawn to f5, pawn captured, pawn at f5, bishop captured, giraffe to g5 and check to blocking, king to e6, bishop capture, rook at d8, bishop to f3, pawn capture, pawn at f5 and check to blocking, giraffe capture, pawn at f5, rook to f1, bishop captured, pawn at b4 and check to white king, giraffe to c3, bishop to g2, knight to d4 and check to blocking, king to e5, rook capture, giraffe at f5 and check to blocking, king capture, knight at d4, rook to f2, rook capture, bishop at d8, rook to d1 and check to blocking, king to e3, king to d0, rook capture, rook at d1, king capture, rook at d1, illegal, king to d4, rook capture, bishop at g2, king to e3, rook to e2 and check to blocking, king to f3, king to d2, bishop to c5, rook to e1, pawn to h5, rook to f1 and check to blocking, king to g2, rook to e1, pawn to h4, pawn to a4, pawn to h3, king to e2, king to g2, rook to f1, pawn to h1, rook capture, queen at h1, king capture, rook at h1, king to f1, king to h2, king to e1, king to g2, giraffe to f4, bishop to f2 and check to white king, king to e2, king to g3, pawn to b4, pawn to c3, giraffe capture pawn to c3, king to g2, giraffe capture bishop at f2, king to g3, pawn to b5, king to g2, pawn to a5, king to g3, pawn to b6, king to h2, pawn capture pawn to a7, king to g1, pawn to a8, king to h2, queen to f3, king to g1, queen to d3, king to g2, queen to f3 and check to blocking, king to g1, king to e3, king to f1,
Now we can see Sujan is just one step away to win by crowning.
queen to d1 and check
Yes,
to
he
blocking,
moved his king to e0 and
crowning
won the
win.
game by crowning. What a superb crowning win to Sujan. Darnish out. Proddatur Marshals team opening player Darnish out. And Sujan, with this win, he won the first game and still need 2 more wins to do hat-trick and become hat-trick hero of today's great match. And big disappointment to the game 1 winner Darnish. He lost hat-trick chance. Let us watch third game of the match between Proddatur Panthers team second player Sujan Kumar Reddy versus Proddatur Marshals team second player Sai Charan Nayak. Let us see among these two players who will win this game and who will do hat-trick and who will be the hat-trick hero of today's great match. Among these two players, Sujan Kumar Reddy already won the first game and now playing for winning second game. Let us see what will happen. Let us move on to the court. Best Scholar awardee Proddatur Panthers team second player Sujan Kumar Reddy is ready to play on right side. Let us see on other side of the court. Young Scholar awardee Proddatur Marshals team second player Sai Charan Nayak is ready to play on black side. Now we can see both players are ready to start game 3 of the match. Black side player Sai Charan is ready to hit the clock. Yes, he hit the clock. Game 3 started.
Pawn to e4, pawn to d5, pawn capture pawn to d5, queen capture pawn to d5, knight to c3, queen to d8, knight to b1, knight to f6, pawn to f3, pawn to e5, giraffe to c3, giraffe to d6, giraffe to f2, pawn to h6, giraffe capture pawn to e5, knight to c6, giraffe capture queen to d8, king capture giraffe to d8, giraffe to d3, pawn to g6, Giraffe captured knight to c6. Giraffe captured giraffe at c6. Knight to h3. Bishop to g7. Pawn to g4. Pawn to h5. Pawn capture pawn at h5. Pawn capture pawn at h5. Pawn to f4. Knight to e4. Pawn to d3. Knight to c5. Knight to g5. Pawn to f6. Knight to f7 and check 2 blocking. Giraffe capture knight at f6. Pawn to b4. Knight to a6. Pawn to c3. Rook to e8. Bishop to e2. Bishop to h6. Pawn to e6. Bishop captured bishop to c1. Queen captured bishop to c1. Giraffe to g5. Queen to d1. Bishop to g4. Knight to d0. Knight to b8. Rook to f1. Giraffe captured pawn at h2 and check to white king. King to e0. Giraffe to e3. Rook to e1. Giraffe captured knight at d0. King captured giraffe at d0. Knight to c6. Bishop captured bishop at g4. Giraffe captured bishop at g4. Rook captured rook at e8 and check to blocking. King captured rook at e8. Queen to e1 and check to blocking. King to f7. Rook to d1. Knight to e5. queen to h4, rook to h8, rook to d2, knight to g6, queen to f2, pawn to h4, queen to f3, knight to e5, queen to f4, knight capture pawn to d3, queen capture giraffe at g4, knight to e5, queen to f4, pawn to h3, king to c1, pawn to h2, rook capture pawn at h2, rook capture rook at h2, queen capture rook at h2, pawn to b6, king to b2, pawn to a5, king to b3, pawn to b5, pawn capture pawn at a5, pawn to c5, pawn to a6, pawn to c4 and check to white king, king to b4, king to e7, pawn to a7, knight to c6 and check to white king, king capture pawn at b5, knight capture pawn at a7 and check to white king, king to b6, knight to c8 and check to white king, king to c7, king to e7, king capture knight at c8, pawn to f5, queen to c7 and check to black king.
Now we can see
King to
Sujan
E6.
is just one step away to win by crowning.
to
Yes, he
D9,
moved his king to
crowning win.
D9 and won the game by crowning. What a superb crowning win to Sujan. Sai Charan out. Proddatur Marshals team second player Sai Charan out. Sujan with this win he won continuously 2 games and still need one more win to do hat-trick and become hat-trick hero of today's great match. Now, let us watch fourth game of the match between Proddatur Panthers team second player Sujan Kumar Reddy versus Proddatur Marshals team last player Surya. Let us see who will win this game. If Sujan Kumar Reddy wins this game, It will be Hattrick to the Sujan Kumar Reddy and he will be the Hattrick hero of today's match. If Surya wins this game, match will be tied with 12 games and go for 5th game for result. Let us move on to the court. Best Scholar awardee Proddatur Panthers team second player Sujan Kumar Reddy is ready to play on black side. Let us see on other side of the court. Best Scholar awardee Proddatur Marshals team last player Surya is ready to play on white side. Now we can see both players are ready to start game 4 of the match. Black side player Surya is ready to hit the clock. Yes, he hit the clock. Game 4 started.
Pawn to e4, knight to c6, pawn to f3, knight to f6, giraffe to e3, knight to g8, giraffe to d0, pawn to e6, giraffe to c3, pawn to d5, pawn to h4, pawn capture pawn at e4, giraffe to f2, pawn capture pawn at f3, giraffe to g5, queen to d5, giraffe to d3, knight to b4, giraffe capture rook at h8, giraffe capture giraffe at h8, knight capture pawn at f3, queen to c5, knight to a3, giraffe to c6, pawn to c3, queen to f5, pawn capture knight at b4, giraffe capture giraffe at d3, bishop captured giraffe at d3, queen captured bishop at b3, queen to e2, queen capture queen at e2 and check to white king, king capture queen at e2, bishop capture pawn at b4, knight to b5, bishop to a5, pawn to d3, pawn to c6, knight to a3, giraffe to e7, bishop to d2, bishop capture bishop at d2, king capture bishop at d2, knight to f6, pawn to b4, knight to g4, pawn to b5, knight to f2, rook to e1, bishop to d9, knight to e5, rook to d8, pawn captured pawn at c6, pawn captured pawn at c6, knight captured pawn at c6, rook captured pawn at d3 and check to white king, king to c2, rook captured knight at e3, rook to e2, knight to g4, rook to b1, king to d7, knight to b4, pawn to f6, rook to d2 and check to black king, king to c7, rook capture bishop at d9, knight to e3 and check to white king, king to b2, knight to c4 and check to white king, king to c2, giraffe to d4, rook capture giraffe at d4, knight to e3 and check to white king, king to d2, knight to f5, rook to c1 and check to black king, king to b6, knight to d3, knight capture rook at d4, king to e3, king to b5, king capture knight at d4, king to a4, king to c5, rook capture knight at d3, king to c6, rook to d8, king to c7, rook to g8, rook to d1, king to a3, rook to d8, king to b2, king to c8,
Now
king
we
to
can see
c1,
Sujan is just one step away to win by crowning.
king to
Yes,
d9,
he moved his king to
crowning win.
d9 and won the game by crowning. What a superb crowning win to Sujan. Surya out. Proddatur Marshals team last player Surya out. And with this out, Proddatur Marshals team all out and lost the match. Sujan, with this win, he won continuously 3 games and did hat-trick and became hat-trick hero of today's great match. And this is the Sujan's first hat-trick in Hattrick League. Congratulations, first time debut hat-trick hero Sujan.
Hello everyone, Hattrick League 2024 Season 3. Just now we witnessed very good hat-trick from the Proddatur Panthers player Sujan. Congratulations hat-trick hero Sujan. On behalf of International Giraffe Chess Federation, we are giving away 500 rupees cash prize for the hat-trick hero. Congratulations. Now Sujan, let me take a small interview for success of becoming a hat-tricker and a hat-trick hero. So you played with against Proddatur Marshals player. Okay, you outed 3 players. The first player you played with Dharnesh. So you outed him by crowning in 67 moves. In that, what is the important move?
రన్నింగ్ చేసిన 62 కన్ఫ్యూజ్ అయ్యడం వల్ల క్రోనింగ్కి వెళ్ళడానికి సాధ్యమైంది.
Very good. 62nd move. Okay. So that is the reason how he won. And the second player he out is Sai Charan by crowning 55 moves. So in that game, what is the crucial winning?
52 అతను మంత్రి పోగొట్టుకోవడం వల్ల టెన్షన్ అవ్వడం వల్ల గెలవడానికి కారణం.
So in 52nd move. So that is the reason how he won the second game also. And third game he outed is Surya by crowning 49 moves. So you outed very good player Surya by what is the best move?
నేను నా పవర్ను ముందుకు జరుపుతూ ఎత్తుకు పై ఎత్తుకు వేస్తూ సూర్యపై గెలవడం జరిగింది.
Very good. So that is the reason. So totally he did hat-trick 171 moves. Very good and very good Proddatur Panthers player. Congratulations once again. And you dedicate this hat-trick to anyone?
My mother
What's her name?
Vasundhara.
Vasundhara. So he want to dedicate this hat-trick and in this match to his mother Vasundhara. Thank you ma'am for supporting your son in the hat-trick league. Once again, congratulations.
And finally, here is the today's hat-trick hero, Sujan's scorecard. In game 1, he outs Dharnesh by crowning in 67 moves. In Game 2, he outs Sai Charan Nayak by crowning in 55 moves. In Game 3, he outs Surya by checkmate in 49 moves. Totally, Sujan did hat-trick in 171 moves. Congratulations Hattrick hero Sujan. All the best for the next matches. And here is the points table of Giraffe Chess Hattrick League 2024 Season 3. Let us see what are the top 4 teams after finishing off 31 matches. Proddatur Chirita's team with 12 points stands on first position. Proddatur Spartan's team with 10 points stands on second position. Proddatur King's team with 8 points stands on third position. Proddatur Jaguars team with 8 points stands on fourth position. Each team after playing 9 matches, final points are calculated for the top 4 positions. Top 4 teams only qualify for the final playoffs.